technical assistance in basically for their intelligence network. They needed technical capabilities that they didn't have before. And that's not using technical sledgehammers. I'm talking about electronic equipment and things like that, which would be basically the same thing that we did in Iran for telephone taps and things like that.
Surveillance equipment?
Basically surveillance equipment, yeah. Sophisticated surveillance equipment.
Matthew Crossan, the New York prosecutor, has alleged that you supplied interrogation equipment and torture equipment to Uganda.
Well, what is torture equipment? I could take a pair of pliers and make it very unpleasant for anybody. The Chinese used slow water drip treatment, so therefore I do not feel that all water exports should be controlled by license.
Matthew Crossan describes implements to apply electric shock to various parts of the body.
It's true that there was a shipment seized in Florida that contained tasers, which is a defensive piece of equipment. It possibly could be used to induce some people to talk, otherwise, that might not otherwise, but also seized in that shipment happened to be 6 of Idi Amin's basketballs. Now, I cannot really foresee how you would use this as a torture device.
Did you supply poisons to Amin?
Poisons, I'm going to skate on that one a little bit. There may have been some in the shipment. I can't really recall specifically.
On 2 of the bug tapes, there's a description of how poison was tried out on a minister and how he went out very quickly and his head fell in the soup. Did that happen?
Yes, that happened.
Were you there?
No.
And you didn't administer the poison?
No.
But it could have come out of your supply?
It could have come in, yes.
You seem to make a complete separation between what you supply and what it might be used for. Do you ever stop to think of the consequences of this stuff on human beings?
If I really thought about the consequences all the time, I certainly wouldn't have been in the business, if that's what...
So you have to blank it off?
Yes, you have to blank it off. I'm sure that the people from Dow Chemical in Delaware, I'm sure that they didn't think of the consequences of selling napalm. If they did, they wouldn't be working at the factory. I doubt very much if they'd feel any more responsible for the ultimate use than I did for my equipment.
Except that the employees were not in the Vietnamese villages.
That's true.
And you were in Uganda?
I had been in Uganda, yes.
To be precise, Terpil was here, at the State Research Bureau, in a luxury suburb of Kampala, the Ugandan capital. During Amin's bloody 8-year reign, thousands of Ugandans were herded into this building and slaughtered. The dictator's official residence stands next door, symbolizing his direct personal involvement in the killing. In May 1979, the atrocities committed at State Research were revealed to the world. The blood-stained walls and floors, the pervasive stench of death, testified to the crimes that had been committed in this charnel house. These basement cells were used to imprison those who were brought here, often in car trunks, by snatch squads working day and night. Among these grisly relics was an arsenal of weapons sufficient to stock a small army, and secret documents that revealed how State Research had been supplied by American and British companies, like Security Systems International of Cambridgeshire, England, and a Swiss company of the same name. Pi Telecommunications had also supplied Amin's secret police through Wilkin, their East African distributors, and on one occasion direct to the President's office from their British headquarters. But it was this document that introduced a new name into Ugandan history. It is a 3-page contract itemizing equipment originally valued at over $6.3 million and then revised down to a new agreed price. The contract bears the signatures of Field Marshal Amin and F.E. Terpil, Director of Intercontinental Technology. You had an office in State Research.
Yes.
And you knew what was going on in State Research.
I was on the administrative. The State Research consisted of 3 floors. The 3rd floor, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor, there were no prisoners kept there. in the basement the prisoners were kept, and I never went down to the basement.
So you never saw the basement?
No.
One of the things that's been said against you in the New York case, and by Matthew Crossan, is that you participated in torture.
I've never participated in any torture, or, in fact, I've never even questioned prisoners. That's purely an internal matter.
You're a supplier.
Just a supplier, right?
But you knew that torture was going on.
It was hard to miss. I mean, you had to walk out of state research and walk right by the courtyard.
It would indeed have been hard to miss the courtyard at state research. The Reverend George Lequia describes what he saw here.
Most of the time was just cutting off, and then sometimes they would just beat a person to death using the butt of the gun. This was very common around here. And again, they would bring some dead bodies already, and then they would throw them on the yard, in the yard.
You said that on the third floor you never saw what went on, that it all happened in the basement. But even if that's true, you must have heard what was going on there.
At times you could hear sounds emitting from the basement. Screams, yeah.
Terpil's office was here. According to him, an administrative area 3 floors above the basement where prisoners were kept. But the Reverend George Lequia was also on the 3rd floor. In fact, he spent 3 months in this room.
This was where we never had food very much. See, they would not even bring us food at all, so we would suffer, stay on just like that. And then water also was another problem. They never brought us water here. And then another thing we experienced here, we were too many for the room, and as a result, some people lost their lives because of suffocation. You can see blood up there. There was a time when we packed 34, and it was right on top here. The whole of this area was full of old dead bodies only. From here up to up there, see? It was really blood always.
They were very, very sensitive. And also I was very sensitive, as that was completely an internal affair, of which did not concern me.
The bug tapes suggest otherwise. New York, December the 20th, 1979.
They did everything. And so tortures down there like unreal. You can't believe it. The best one I saw, which you can use really, is the rat one. And use it very good. What they do is they take a rat, a real hungry rat. They stick it on your, first they put a little slit on your stomach. Stick the rat on your stomach, which will run away. So then they put a copper pot on top of the stomach. They strap it on your stomach. They start a little fire on top of the pot. The top of the pot on copper starts getting hot from the top down. The rat goes crazy. There's only one way out.
Through the stomach. Oh, my God.
And you feel it every goddamn day.
And he's eating right
You can see it. You can see it.
You see it.
But you can see when it's in your stomach, it keeps on going through. It keeps on going through. It doesn't stop.
He eats right through the stomach.
He eats right through.
If you toss, they take the rat off. Oh, they just let the rat keep eating. It's an interesting way.
Yeah, very effective. I've seen that done about 3 times. Totally effective.
Did you ever witness anything like that?
No, it has been used, but by various tribes. It's not an invention of Idi Amin or state research. It's been there for 50, I don't know what the amount of time,